What do you believe is next that Ben Johnson addresses and fixes?
That's a good question because Ben Johnson he's the one who went into the bye week, Silvy, with purpose, with the obsession to fix the run game, and he did it. So looking at my crystal ball, I would have to say it's the red zone offense. Maybe less field goals from Jake Moody or Cairo Santos, whoever's kicking this week. I think it might be Jake Moody again, but I think that is the biggest problem right now for the Bears. When they get inside the opponent's territory, goal to goal, red zone, they're faltering. They're looking to kill Williams to get through his progressions faster. They're looking for him to be a special player in those instances. So,
all right. So first of all, what is your gut? I know you're not in Baltimore. You've just been following the reports like we are. What is your gut on Lamar Jackson for this game? Remember, they play on Thursday too.
Yeah, my gut is telling me that the Ravens are playing some games a little bit, but my gut always tells me that Lamar Jackson is one of those special quarterbacks, and this is a very small group of quarterbacks that can go the entire week without practicing, barely practicing, maybe not practicing at all, and still play on Sunday and be pretty darn good. That's a small group. You got Josh Allen, you got maybe Patrick Mahomes, and then you got Lamar Jackson. It's a very small group in the NFL these days. And that's just how good he is. And that's what the Bears are approaching this week as. They're not looking for Cooper Rush or whomever is the Ravens' backup quarterback. They're spending all their time preparing for Lamar Jackson because they should. He is that good. He's that dangerous. He's that gifted when he's in. So my gut tells me that the Ravens are desperate. He's feeling desperate. He's got to get on the field, find a way to get on the field and deliver a win for the Ravens or their season is pretty much lost.
Adam, that's where I was going to go next. Which Ravens team do you believe shows up? I mean, they have been defensively, they've been an injured dumpster fire, but their guys are healthy. Their offense was doing some decent stuff before Lamar went out. Do you think you'll see a better effort, or do you think you'll see the 1-5 Ravens again on Sunday?
I mean, Tom, statistically, this is one of the worst defenses.
Yeah, they're awful
in the entire league. Last in sacks. 30th in opposing passer rating, 28th against the pass, 26th against the run, 27th on third downs, last in scoring. So getting all these guys back is great. I still don't think they're getting their star defensive tackle back.
Right.
They got some retreads up there starting for them up front, guys in their 30s, guys who were on the Bears not too long ago, and Brent Urban and John Jenkins. They've come through Hallis Hall and left Hallis Hall. So I don't know. I think at the end of the day, the numbers say what you are, and I get that they got Kyle Hamilton. I get that getting Roquan Smith back and healthy, he's going to help immensely. But at the end of the day, it starts up front. The injuries have been a factor. And really, at this point in Week 8, I think the Ravens are what they are. They're a bottom 5 defense in the NFL right now.
Jahns, a couple of weeks ago, or at least going into the bye, I don't know if anyone could envision DeAndre Swift having great games and the Bears dominating in the run game. But they went in with a purpose to the bye, and they fixed it immediately. They fixed their run defense as well in the last couple of weeks. The defense as a whole continues to take the ball away. What do you believe is next that Ben Johnson addresses and fixes?
That's a good question because Ben Johnson he's the one who went into the bye week, Silvy, with purpose, with the obsession to fix the run game, and he did it. So looking at my crystal ball, I would have to say it's the red zone offense. Maybe less field goals from Jake Moody or Cairo Santos, whoever's kicking this week. I think it might be Jake Moody again, but I think that is the biggest problem right now for the Bears. When they get inside the opponent's territory, goal to goal, red zone, they're faltering. They're looking to kill Williams to get through his progressions faster. They're looking for him to be a special player in those instances. So maybe that's it. Maybe you see their red zone scoring percentage go up over the next few weeks because they have some favorable matchups. And I think Ben Johnson would probably make that a point of emphasis.
Well, why do you think that it will be Jake Moody again? I think Cairo was full. And then if Moody does kick and kicks well, what then?
Well, I think there was a practice the other day. We'll say yesterday. We'll call it Wednesday, where I saw Cairo Santos kind of doing his own thing while the rest of the specialists were together. So maybe that changes over the next couple of weeks. But what an insurance policy Jake Moody has become after he was completely discarded by the 49ers. I think the Bears have a good problem on their hands. If Santos is healthy, he's obviously your kicker, but I think Moody has shown, and I think he's got one more call-up, right? One more activation to the active roster before he's got to be permanently on there. But he's become quite the great insurance option if Santos doesn't feel good or if he suffers a setback over the next couple of days here.
Adam, 6 games in, what are you most impressed with, and what is the biggest issue facing this team?
I think I've been most impressed with, I think it's got to be the defense, right? With the takeaways. These aren't luck. If you talk to the Bears defensive players, whether it's Kevin Byard, Tyreek Stevenson, Deshaun Wright, they don't believe luck is happening. This is their game preparation coming to play, the film study, the work they're getting with Al Harris, these looks that they're looking for on game days, and they're capitalizing on them. So, yes, takeaways, like I understand that some will argue there's a luck factor, but some of them that are happening on the field right now, that's the result of their preparation. So I think I've been most impressed by that because I think I've always felt that the secondary could be the strength of this team. And now I think you're starting to see those results, especially with Kyler Gordon, Jaquan Brisker healthy. The other part of it was what I'm most concerned about. I don't know. I would like to see more consistency out of Caleb Williams in a sense, but I do understand that he requires time. I understand that Ben Johnson is putting a lot on his plate and not removing it by any means. I like that approach. He's not going to baby his quarterback in a sense. He's not going to pare things down to make this as simple as can be. He's going full speed with his developmental program that he had in place from the start. But I would like to see more consistency. I like to see that completion percentage, which ranks below league average right now for Caleb Williams, which ranks actually below Justin Fields' mark right now in the NFL. I like to see that improve. That's got to be on Ben Johnson's list too, along with the red zone offense.
So when you look at Caleb and you've watched him for his entire career in Chicago, you watched preseason, you knew that it would be something that would go up and down. Like I think a listener said it best. You know, we always say Caleb's going to have good days and bad days. And then when he has a bad day, we act like we're surprised. Like we know good days and bad days are going to come with us. So in the totality, Jahns, of his season, is he where you thought he would be? Is he a little behind where you thought he would be? Is he ahead of where you thought he would be?
I think he's exactly where I thought he would be, where this is going to be a bit of a roller coaster ride, where the ups are going to be amazing, but the downs are going to lead to questions, concerns, and arguments on Twitter and whatnot, on social media, because that's what happens when failure happens.
Yes.
But to be honest, like, that's okay. Like, he's allowed to fail. He's allowed to go through these ups and downs. Would we like a season like Drake May is having to cover here in Chicago? Sure. I'm sure everybody would feel a lot better about the future with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams if he's doing what Drake May is doing right now in New England, but that's just not the case. Maybe it's what he's being asked to do. Maybe it's because, everything is new, from being under center to the play action to everything that Ben Johnson wants to see him do pre-snap. Like, that's all new for Caleb Williams. So I think it's just accepting that this is going to be the season. Like, this is what it's going to be. There's going to be great highs. Like, that should happen in Baltimore, according to the stats. And then there's going to be lows because they're great. There's other defenses like the Eagles, the Vikings ahead on the schedule too. So it's learning to ride that through all the way to the finish, which I think can be difficult for some.
Do you have any confidence that this front four on the defensive side can improve their consistent pressure? 4 sacks last week, but 3 were from defensive backs and linebacker, and the other one was a scramble. The pressure hasn't been there. Are you expecting it to appear magically?
Yeah. I don't know, Dom. I saw Dennis Allen dial up a lot of pressures from his nickelback and a lot of pressures from his safeties. And I think that right there tells me, it should tell everyone, that he's not happy with the pressure he's getting from his front four. Maybe there's some favorable matchups coming up. Maybe Montez Sweat does get a bit better. And I think he has been over the past couple of weeks, with the forced fumbles. He had the sack and strip of Spencer Rattler. He had that big 4th down stop, too, against the Saints. So the signs are there. The splash plays are there for Montez Sweat. But you want more. You expect more. So he's been good, but you expect better. And you expect him to be, one of your best players on this roster. But just looking at what Dennis Allen did against the Saints with the nickel pressures, with the safety pressures, and all those games up front, that tells me he's not happy right now with his pass rush. And he probably doesn't trust it enough get home on the quarterback.
I want to know what you think about the deadline, the trade deadline coming up here the first week of November. Do you think that the Bears are going to make a move that at least has an impact on this team?
Well, who are we talking about? What are we parting with? I don't think they'd make a big splash for any of the big-name pass rushers. I think you keep the picks. You let Ben Johnson pick those players going forward, whether it's offensive linemen or defensive linemen, guys he fears, guys he wouldn't like to plan against. Let's be honest. This is like a 5-year plan with Ben Johnson. He's here with a 5-year contract. You hope he's here for more. Let him keep his picks. Let him build this the right way, the way he wants to see it through. Going all in on this season for, I don't know, someone who's here for a year, I'm not sure that's the best course of action. But you may be able to convince me if that's like a star player who could be signed to like a 2-3 year contract.
Considering gambling is one of the topics of the day, what are your odds that Tyreek Stevenson and Cole Kmet play on Sunday?
Yeah, it doesn't look good. I always go by, like, do you see them at practice, and then do you see them in the locker room later? And I have not seen Cole Kmet at all. Tyreek Stevenson briefly walked through the locker room yesterday, looked all right, but he's not out in the practice field, so that's not good. He looked happy, I will say that, but it doesn't sound like he's going to play this week. I would think both of those players would be sorely missed on the road against Baltimore.
Adam, who do they stick in his place? And is there any chance that they would ever kick Kyler Gordon out to the boundary, or do you think that's not using him correctly?
No, absolutely. There was a snap against the Saints where Josh Blackwell came in at nickel, and then Kyler Gordon went out on the outside opposite Nashawn Wright. So they showed that very briefly against the Saints. I think it was just one snap because Wright was banged up after missing the interception when he collided with Kevin Byard, right? And he briefly left, then he came back. So they showed something like that. If they don't do that, it's Nick McLeod, who played in place of Kyler Gordon at nickel earlier in the year. He'd be your other option at cornerback. But, yeah, they briefly showed that they will have a look where Kyler Gordon bumps outside in certain scenarios.
Interesting.
All right, Jahns, you're the best. We're off to Cincinnati, so drinks in Cincy. You got it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'll see you there, boys.
All right.